Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. Welcome to Baja Raptor Runs. If you're watching this video, that means you're probably going to join us on one of our epic trips up and down the Baja Peninsula. Excited to have you here today. We're going to teach you some tips on how to drive on the highways and how to drive in the dirt so that you can make the most of your Baja Raptor Run experience. So every day we need to make sure that every customer has a full tank of gas before we get started. Gas stations can be a very different experience in Mexico. First, and very importantly, the green is the gas you actually want. In the United States, we're used to that being diesel, but that's actually the gas we want for our unleaded vehicles. The black will actually be the diesel, so you gotta make sure you don't get those two confused. Also, if you're driving a truck with a supercharger that has high octane requirements, that's gonna be difficult, if not impossible to find, so you will have to bring octane booster with you. If you forget it, that's gonna be a real problem. Finally, most of the gas stations in Mexico will take your credit card, and it's really pretty easy, but occasionally you will need to use pesos to pay. So listen to the group, listen to Trey, make sure you understand when we're going to the gas station so that you can completely fill up before next day's run. So learning how to communicate on the radio while we're on the highway, talking to everyone in the group, is key to safety. And that's one of the things that we'll focus on today, is teaching you how to listen to our leader and respond and know how to deal with traffic situations and hazards.
We use a lot of lingo when we're on the radio to simplify communication. Like when we're calling the weather or calling traffic on the highway, the lead vehicle will call, if there's no oncoming traffic, he'll call green, 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 so that we can make passes around slower moving vehicles. If there is traffic headed towards us, he'll call oncoming, 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 and we'll know not to pass. Call out clear with your name or call sign so that the lead vehicle knows that you have actually completed the pass safely. You want to make sure you have a place where you can hang the microphone up so that it doesn't sit in a cup holder or rattle around on the floor or anyplace else, because that can intermittently key the microphone, which will cause interference with communication and is very annoying and could block important transmissions. Antenna mounting position is very critical to good radio communication. You want to have it someplace where it's not blocked, like the back of mounted on the bed rail isn't really the best. On top of the roof is really good. They make a rear third brake light mount that holds dust lights as well as the radio antenna, and that's a great option. Having the correct radio, of course, is probably the primary concern. You need to have one that will broadcast on VHF business band frequencies. You can buy those pre-programmed from Trey or from, say, PCI race radios. You need to make sure that you are broadcasting. Test your radio before you hit the road for the Baja Raptor Run. Find somebody else that also is coming on the Raptor Run or is traveling cross country from the same direction, and you can use that to test your radio before you actually show up. That way we know that the radio is operating properly on the proper frequency.
First, all your signs are going to be in kilometers and not miles. And so when Trey is calling out distances to you and where he is, it's going to be at K markers, which is kilometers. So not only do we deal with oncoming traffic in Mexico on the highways, occasionally there will be livestock on the side of the road and possibly even in the middle of the road. We can see cows, we can see donkeys, we can see horses. Trey will call those out, but sometimes Trey will pass a set of livestock that he may not have even been able to see, and you're in the back of the pack and all of a sudden there's cows on the road. So you have to pay attention to what's in front of you and always be wary of livestock next to the highways. Highways in Baja, Mexico are extremely different from every highway you'll experience in the United States. The roads are very skinny. Many of the highways are only 2 lanes, and many of them have potholes. So you'll have oncoming traffic coming at you, dodging potholes. So we have to communicate, we have to be safe, and we have to drive what we can see. One of the other big things that you're going to see on Mexican highways and Mexican roads are what they call vados, V-A-D-O-S, right? And you're gonna see a sign off to the right that looks like bacon frying with 2 lines to it. That is a vado. What a vado is a low spot in the road which can actually go very deep to allow water to pass through over the highway. When you hit a vado at high speed, it can really unsettle the truck. So Trey will try to call out all the vados, but you need to keep your eyes on the road and make sure you know what you're doing. You do not want to go through a vado at too high of a speed. Another thing that's different about driving in Baja is that you will go through military checkpoints. We'll have to come to a stop as an entire group, and they will ask you a series of questions and possibly even inspect your truck before you go through the checkpoint. The most common questions they're going to ask you is, where are you coming from and where are you going? Before we reach a checkpoint, Trey will let you know where we're coming from and where we're going, just to remind you so that you can answer those questions cleanly and easily to the officers that are there at the checkpoint.
My number one rule for Baja is don't drive in the dust. Don't drive in the dust, don't drive in the dust, don't drive in the dust. You can't see anything, you can't see the hazards, you can't see where you're going right in front of you. Just gap out a little more, take a little more time, wait. We're not gonna leave you. We're always gonna have someone behind you. So just stay out of the dust of the person ahead of you. Everyone that's running a dust light, you can see where they're at in their line, but you don't have to be in their dust. You don't have to be following that close because you won't be able to see what's going on, and you just gotta stay out of the dust. So typically on these trips, we got a group, find your spot in line. You are gonna be faster than some people and slower than the others. If you're constantly catching the guy in front of you, maybe next time you stop, say, hey, can I get in front of you? I keep catching you. There's no shame in being further back in line. Most people tell me at the back they have more fun than when you're stuck in the middle with a big group of dust. Don't feel ashamed if someone is driving faster and you let them go ahead of you. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. You may end up with a flat tire and you don't, so you never know. You don't have to pack a lot to come down here. You bring your clothes. I like to bring a pillow, but you don't need to overpack. Don't pack too many clothes. Don't bring big giant suitcases. You're not gonna need them. They take up too much room, hard to strap down. Bring a cooler, have it where it's strapped down. I like to use the coolers that have straps where you can still open the cooler while it's strapped down versus having to fight, taking the strap off every time you want to get into it. A good tie-down method like airline track in the bed. It's super easy, fail-safe way to strap your stuff down. Don't bring too many tools. Don't bring things that you can't even use in your truck. And honestly, like, our team has all the tools, and most of the time something happens, we're gonna be pulling our tools out to help you fix it. So it's just kind of a waste of space. And the heavier your truck is, the more stuff you've got loading it down, the less it performs off-road, and you're gonna have a less fun time. We don't provide lunches, but what we've figured out, a lot of times what works well is just snacking. So grab some couple blocks of cheese or some snack packs, adult Lunchables, thing of ham or cheese or whatever. And you can buy groceries down here on the lunch meat and things like that. It may not be the same caliber as the United States, but you don't have to overpack that as well. Racing and off-roading is very much a part of the Baja culture, and the kids love to see us come through town and love to get stickers. I like to bring little Hot Wheels cars or extra shirts, soccer balls, whatever. It's always fun to give that out to someone that is definitely not as fortunate as you and I are. Grab a couple 6-packs of Hot Wheels when you're getting groceries, and it'll make your kid's day. One thing about coming down here, you have to have a positive attitude. Like, you've got to be ready for anything and just willing to accept that you may not have a hot shower, that your bed may not be as comfortable as home, that the AC may not work just quite right, that the day may go long, that the road may get rough, that you may have a flat tire and you gotta crawl around and change it. But having a good attitude, it's just part of the adventure. And at the end of it, you look back and be like, wow, all this stuff happened, but it was still an awesome time.